Thanks for tuning in again, and also a warm welcome to everybody who's new to the channel and to the new subscribers recently and those who are smashing a like to the videos that appreciate this content and maybe also sharing it somewhere. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Now, the topic of this video is whether or not NIO and Baidu, as I'm recording this video, are green and up because of an announcement that caught actually my surprise yesterday. Well, I have to say it's not a real announcement. It's unofficial, but it seems pretty much confirmed that a Baidu brand called Jidu or Jiyue, the car, which is for Robotaxi, consumer Robotaxi, will be the next battery swap partner for NIO. So we know NIO has closed all of these partnerships with a couple of big giants, right? So why is this different this time and what's so interesting about it? First of all, I should disclose that I'm invested in both NIO and Baidu. I have to say I was quite disappointed by Baidu's stock performance also during this downturn recently, in recent years. Given the fact that it's a quite well capitalized company as well. So it seems there's also lots of negativity surrounding the stock, but you have to say, yes, there has been also not as a fast turnaround to new businesses like Robotaxis when it comes to Baidu. So, this company is still being seen as the Google of China. I think search doesn't matter too much anymore about the future of this company, so they're rather going into drug discovery, AI, and now also mobility. And that's what's kind of struck me in the first place about why I've invested in the company. But nonetheless, the performance of the stock has been terrible. But now it's coming up, and maybe also related to this news that they are choosing NIO battery swapping, becoming a partner. What it means in specific, we will see. Whether or not they're just gonna, adopt it for some of the car models, or whether or not they're also gonna build their own swap stations or help with the build out. We're about to see. But the interesting part here is, that this is a company who cares about, bringing robotaxis in the hand of consumer, meaning the goal is level 4, level 5 autonomy. Already today, they are pretty advanced in what they can do. What you can see in this video, I haven't personally tested that one myself. I have tested though other Baidu Robotaxis, which are ride-hailing services. So that's different. This is where Baidu or some Baidu companies are actually operating the ride-hailing business itself, and they're buying the cars and they are fitting them with, for example, LiDAR and with their technology and the algorithms and the compute power and so on, and they run them. They are actually running actual robotaxis that you can order with your cell phone, and they get you from A to B. I've tested those. They run pretty well, I would say. Still not as much as a human driver would, but they get you from A to B and it's feeling safe. Now this Jidu is, in my opinion, different because it's facing consumers, so you can buy the cars of that brand and actually quite affordable, and there are really tacky, a little bit more about design, about brand. They have this cyberpunk feel to it. It's very young. By the way, it's in joint venture with Geely, and I think they also might be them who are manufacturing them. I have to fact check that one again. But this brand now chooses battery swapping, and the fact that this is a company who's poised to do robotaxis in China for consumers, choosing battery swap as a technology to replenish power, at least in future models, it seems, is interesting, because I've been talking on this channel about how battery swapping has such advantages and how NIO actually is already doing autonomous battery swapping for some pilot users. So you can off-ramp the highway, which you have been driving autonomously, then it's going to find the battery swap station. It's doing the battery swap all on its own, and then on-ramp to the highway again and continues the journey. So basically no human necessary in order to get a new fully charged battery, and in a record time of below 5 minutes, rather about 3 minutes. So if you were a taxi operator, a robotaxi operator, This should be interesting because of the economics of getting the car back on the road quickly. Doesn't matter if it's, if this Robotaxi is in the hand of the consumer or in the hand of the of a fleet operator. In both cases, this should be beneficial, right? On paper, right? From what it can do. And contrary to that, we see what currently Tesla might be doing. So there has been a leak about a patent regarding wireless charging. This has to do, in my opinion, with an M&A, a merger and acquisition that Tesla has done a while ago, in which they acquired a German wireless company, wireless charging tech company. They stripped out the technology, it seems, because they have sold off the company again. So it's kind of acquiring some IP maybe, and maybe some employees. And maybe now with the announcement of a Robotaxi by Tesla at some point in time, they may actually also introduce wireless charging. And without knowing the exact specifics of what's that gonna be, my prediction here is that this wireless charging technology will be not as good as battery swapping when it comes to the time it needs to replenish power of the car. Simply because wireless charging is, in my opinion, not going to be faster than supercharging today, because there will be less efficiency, there will be energy loss on the way. But yes, it enables the seamless plug-in progress or process in which there is no human needed, like you don't have to get out of the car and put a plug into your car, which is the current Tesla infrastructure and most of the infrastructures of EV. And so in an autonomous future, isn't it better if there is something that doesn't require a human in the process when it comes to charging, and ideally also being as fast as possible? And that seems to be, in my opinion, battery swapping. And this move by Baidu or Baidu confirms that. And so it's those big players in the background which are thinking about autonomy and which are very, very likely to be involved in that, like Baidu with the Apollo and all of the other technologies that they are launching, by the way, also as a platform business model. So they are offering Apollo to other OEMs. They are going now for battery swapping, or in the future, at least that's the indication here, right? And versus the approach by Tesla with wireless charging, which could work if you have the time and you have this wireless charging in your garage and stuff, and then it could also enable that. But I'm skeptical currently of how much it can compete with the battery swapping technology there for an autonomous future. So, not even talking about all of the other benefits about battery swapping that we are frequently discussing here on the channel when it comes to what it can do for the grid, what it can do for upgradability, flexibility, and so on, right? So now, pretty big deal in my opinion. And although I have to say, in my perception, Baidu is not one of the front runners of autonomous driving. A little bit why I think maybe there's not so much hype around the stock. They seem to be usually a bit more old school in their approaches. For example, using lots of V2X also when it comes to the fleets that are currently operating. But there's also flexibility within the company. So this joint venture with Geely about a year, so it seems to be going more into also this vision-only approach and a leaner way. And with this new brand, as I mentioned, it's a whole different thing than what Baidu itself is doing with the Apollo program. Now, big congratulations for this endorsement by Baidu and the CEO towards Li Bin and a new company like NIO, right? And that's just another puzzle piece in the whole battery swap partnership story. Very exciting in my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.